Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and welcome back to another episode of... Well, you know what they say. New year, new stuff, new Jacob pose? No, it's not new. I don't know what you're talking about, people. Granted, I've not used it in a while, but then again, I've also not reviewed content from this channel in a while. Because, yeah, in the new year, I like to go back to some of the old stuff, particularly. You know, some of the stuff that's that's less that grabs one's attention less unless you're me. Because yeah, this is the person who made the Christmas play that goes wrong from a few years ago. I found out they also made a thing called the school play that goes wrong before that one, which makes me think that my content of the last play in that one might have been, yeah, I think I mentioned something to that effect. But yeah, basically, in terms of Miss Fanasia Gacha, there's a lot of catch up to do in general, and something that I intended to do last year anyway. But then just, I guess, I think I was getting caught up in like finalizing a bunch of other stuff around this time. Oh wait, no, then the Pass of the Torch stuff happened. Yeah, that was last year, wasn't it? Yeah, wow. Another thing I need to get back to, essentially. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. I think we're I've seen that one. How could this happen? Oh, the Christmas play. That might have been like the Christmas gachas collection. It might have been like buried in there, basically. But yeah. Okay. Also, these comments I'm thinking, make a lot more sense for this channel as far as all the talks of Morwenna. I was thinking of reviewing Drama Elementary today as the next video. But yeah, actually, another one that has a girl with a dragon tail as far as content goes. But this one isn't about a dragon girl specifically. It's about a girl and a dragon. Mostly because it's called The Girl and the Dragon. But, close enough. Close enough. That Goes Wrong got nominated for the best character design, so to speak. Yeah. Well, yeah, this is the because I mean, that's one thing about like this channel is that, especially like for the forum, I guess like the time period of the format itself, I feel like, yeah, like some of like the designs strike out in a simple but also complex way to me specifically. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way about that, but there you go. I guess we're about to get back into that, I suppose. So so yeah, okay, let's find out about Moana's origin story, shall we? Okay. Without further ado, on with the review. The song is copyrighted. It's I think it's. Oh, no, it is just the normal version of Hello Kids by Avril Lavigne. I thought it was like the dubstep version, but no, I forgot. That one is like a massive bass drop anyway. Anyway. Oh, no. Okay, it's still going. I thought it finished. See what I meant? See what I meant? That was with the volume down. So, yeah. Also, okay, so the channel is already called Miss Fantasia by that point. Bear in mind that in the playlist of the Miss Fantasia videos, Miss Fantasia Pilot is after this video. Directly after. So all the stuff we reviewed beforehand, with the exception of the Christmas play that goes wrong, is before the channel gave focus to the character that gives it its name. I don't know why that is, but there you go. So that outfit doesn't match Daisy's hair. I mean, it's a school uniform. I don't think it's supposed to. Oh, okay. I'm going with the with the Temmie songs. At least I know that Toby Fox has fought the copyright on this one. Anyway. Come on, Starry, get up. 5 more minutes. I mean, that's one way around it, I suppose. Okay, contradictorily, I guess, the white shirt is not usually common for the school uniform. But yes, in other videos we have seen of these characters, this is their school uniform. I guess Starry gets a different color-coded one that no one else has had up until this point. That raises more questions. Anyway. The bellows sound very different from the last time I heard. Yeah, that's because they're the troublemakers, obviously. Anyway, okay, let's go now. Wake up. Seriously? Fine, have it your way. Wait, what am I? No. If that doesn't tell you, like, what kind of, like, energy this is capturing, I don't know what will. I think this channel started in 2020, so not quite the original era of Gacha, but hey, close enough. Anyways, and then my dad on my ice and she's over the fence. Yeah, Grams. Yes, exactly. Not even just dropped. It's been yeeted. Yeah. Holy smoke! Daisy's done it. Good grief. Anyways, the hey story. That's one way to make an entrance. Do you have a concussion now? All right. Well, if it isn't the human pigeon. Is that because she flew or because of, like, previous events that I've forgotten about? Leave us alone, Rye. You just like to pick on us because we don't worship your hair. Oh, he's the hair-based character. Okay, alright. Attention, duelists! My hair is making a cameo! Just get over it. Everyone knows that I have the best hair in the universe. It looks like you've never even seen a hairbrush. Give Teddy back. Wait, you just hand Teddy away? What? Let me just look at that. Okay, so this is something that we recently talked about in the most recent D&D one shot. That moment where I had one of the one of the characters like lap up a potion that was like in someone's like buried hand because they were dizzy. But in this case, not quite the same situation. Let's see what happens here. Yep. So she holds Teddy up in her other hand, so swaps hands first of all, puts it within Roy's reach, and Roy, while annoyed, already has his hand outstretched to take Teddy. So yeah, Starry, you kind of walked into that one. I hope. I'm afraid. Not I hope. So yeah. This is an example of someone trying desperately to not have much in the way of movement, usually, despite the fact that this character Starry did in fact descend from the sky, but that was, there was no way around that. So yeah, when I say people are trying to avoid movement in Gacha, this is what I mean, basically. This is definitely gives off many Miss and Mrs. Dice art. Let's give Teddy back! Attention, duelists, there are two ways. 1. Say I have the best hair and become my girlfriend. Or 2. Go to the dragon cave and get me some treasure. I guess there's a dragon cave here. Honestly, given the lore about like their teacher, I'm not surprised this is just a thing they gloss over in this universe. That by this point they've already set the vibe enough, which is interesting in of itself because you would think they do that in the pilot, but that didn't come out yet, so I don't know. It's not even Gacha life pose limitations. I mean, all he had to do was walk over with the Gacha life poses that exist, even the still ones would have worked, and yanked it from her hand that was already there. Or alternatively, have her hold Teddy in the other hand towards him and have him, give him less of a time to reach. But yeah. Of course, Timmy's got his way into recess. No! Dragon Cave first, education later! Best hair, more like bed hair is what she should have said. I agree. Anyways, I choose 2. Aiden, you've already made this joke. I have it. I have it on screen here. Yeah, I saw it before. but wouldn't it make more sense to? Don't give her 2 options if you don't want to have 2 options. I wouldn't date you if you were the last guy on Earth. And in other stories, I would say that's foreshadowing, but this isn't ponies, so, we're fine. Fine. Be back here with my treasure first thing tomorrow. I guess you do get to go to class after all. All right, that's good. Hey, dear, that's day. You're really going? For Teddy! There was actually, speaking of ponies, there was an old meme that was from this comic that was that said like for pony. I don't know the full context of it because it was I just know it from Team Four Star who made a reference to it with like Nappa, but yeah. Anyway. So yes, it can in fact wait until recess. Or even like later in the day until after school. We don't know. Hopefully it's after school, because otherwise again they're missing class for this. We the teachers watching the guys from the window. This looks like a public park, so I somewhat doubt that. Then again, limited gacha backgrounds are limited. More so than the poses, which they could have accounted for before, but there you go. Let's do crazy roleplays that were so investing you had to watch. Normally, I was the one trying to get them to like, you know, like to act or be creative. So, no, not really. But I heard there's a scary dragon in there. Yeah, no duh. It's called the Dragon Cave. I'm not afraid of dragons. Do 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 do. Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. At least I think I'm not. Do 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 do. And besides, I'd rather be eaten by a dragon than be Roy's girlfriend. There's a way to avoid a relationship. What shall I slay? The ghost dragon! I should not have held Teddy by my hip, because now I've got to go slay the ghost dragon! Anyways, wish me luck. Well, at least she'll go down swinging. I feel like she'd probably go down being swung. I imagine the dragon probably just like pick up, just go vroom, vroom, vroom like that. I mean, I don't know if we can call that swinging necessarily, but all right. Yes, she was a good That's it. Okay, you're not gonna, I don't know, try to. I feel like at this point you won't be able to get like a parents involved or something, being like, "Hey, yeah, don't go into a cave of dragons. We can A, buy you a new teddy, or B, if it has that much sentimental value to you, get the school involved and get it back." But okay, yeah, exactly. Elf friends didn't even try. Mm-hmm. Starry swimming out to sea. Starry, no. And meanwhile, the teacher's just like, ah, yes, our youth playing around as always. Meanwhile, it's an actual dragon. Okay, Starry, you can do this. Do it for Teddy. Yeah, I've got this. I ain't afraid of no dragon. Eek! Eek! Oh, that seemed like it was getting out for some sort of like chase scene or something, but I guess not. Oh, that's right, because a chase would require excessive movement. Of course, I should have known. Okay. Yeah. In the movie, Star returns to her friends and they're hosting a funeral for her. That actually happened in a Percy Jackson book. Not to give too many spoilers for Percy Jackson, but there's one point where they think that Percy is dead, and he comes back, but like basically unscathed, mind you, because he's been somewhere else healing for reasons that again won't spoil. And they just like he just like emerges, and it just sees them all in like funeral mode, burning his shroud at the camp. And he just shows up being like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" So yeah, that does very much happen sometimes. Anyways, wait, you're afraid of me? Yeah, don't you barbecue humans and eat them? This is where they probably should have like said something about that. because obviously, I mean, here's the thing: the most common, legend associated with dragons that we know, at least over here, is of course, the ones where they will, the ones where they will breathe fire and occasionally kidnap a princess into a tower or something, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, dragons are very varied. In fact, I bet you like every culture in the world has a variant of dragon, if I remember correctly. So there's a lot of leeway as to like even what counts as a dragon in the first place. So yeah, I guess it all depends, but for the sake of like this universe, I personally would have specified, or like had a line to do with that. I know that would basically be like a form of exposition, but also it's kind of like the scene in Home Alone where you think that you're getting exposition, but it's just basically Buzz telling his cousin about this guy who says like, oh, I heard that he I don't. I heard that they killed his entire family and blah 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 or something, and no one caught him because there wasn't enough evidence. And no one questions, of course, why there'd be not enough evidence if he was the only suspect. But yeah, so like that, and it turns out the guy's actually just very nice. It was all a misunderstanding because kids make stuff up. If he'd gone that angle, it would have been exposition. It would have been a red herring. So I feel like it would have worked in that context. Yeah. How does it not burn its insides? Well, I imagine that any dragons that are able to breathe fire are also themselves fireproof. I would have thought, right? Otherwise, that's a massive flaw of evolution, you would think. hmm Like there's a bag with one head, it's got a gas and a spark in it. Well, if that, I don't know if you want to, like that would just trigger like an explosion. It would be difficult to control and direct. But anyway, to see an air breathing that is like the fantasy equivalent of an earth pony. But anyway. What? No. But don't you chop dragons up and make dragon stew? I mean, from the dragons that I've seen, they do that themselves, actually. Shout out to Miss Kobayashi's dragon maid and the amount of times that Toru's tried to get Kobayashi to eat her own tail. Anyway. What? No! What? No! Then why are you in my cave? Well, you see, a mean kid took my teddy and said I had to get treasure from here. Hey, don't cry. I have plenty of treasure. Ah, so there is one dragon stereotype that they are adhering to: the hoarding of treasure. Okay, I see that. I see we draw the line somewhere when it comes to subverting that. But all right. Also, thanks for joining us. Right, Smarty Pants, how do you think Fabric was? I am fairly convinced that there is a film theory / game theory video on this very topic. I'm sure that that's something in there. It's always molded into Monty. you know, you, I wonder if like one of the pizza plexes should like actually incorporate a dragon animatronic if not done so already. I feel like a dragon mascot would get them, some would get them some decent hits. I don't know. How does he understand English, or am I missing something? Well, he is from this general area, so so you can assume that, especially because he's like humanoid and has like is able, and presumably that comes with being able to mimic our vocal cords. Um, yeah, it stands to reason that is capable of language and would therefore speak the language of the area that he's from. I would think. I don't know. That is, of course, doing this even is English, because with Gacha, sometimes, obviously, depending on where this is set, it soon can be translated. I don't know. It depends, because like Miss Fantasia doesn't have like a concrete setting, so that might not apply. But either way, he probably would speak the same language as the area that he's around, so all the humans too. It was like Spike from LP, old but doesn't grow. Oh, I've only seen the version of Spike where he's a baby, so I can't weigh in on that one yet. Oh, don't advertise your treasure if you're chill with giving it away. Why do you hoard it? Maybe it was a very generous inheritance. I don't know. Maybe he knows that dragons will hoard treasure, but the moment they find out that Teddy has been kidnapped, you know, that's when that's when you've got you've got a lifetime benefactor or a one-time benefactor, probably. Anyway, but here, this should be enough. I mean, yes, probably. To be fair, Roy didn't specify the amount of treasure, so yeah, I guess this would work. Are you sure you want me to take it? Sure, I have more treasure than I know what to do with. That does actually speak volumes. There is there's an idea that that's once you accumulate an amount of wealth that you're not going to spend in your life, provided that you're not, corrupted by the idea of constantly earning more in the first place, there is an understanding that that there's no need to accumulate more and more, basically. Hmm. Hmm. Thank you so much. With an English accent. That's an ST next to bottle of water. I'm not gonna do the meme. That is how I say it. You gotta get someone more northern for the meme. This dragon wears clothes. How intelligent are they in this universe? Okay. I feel like the idea behind this video is that there have been misconceptions, around what humans think dragons are like in this world and what dragons think humans are like. And it turns out that they themselves are, in fact, more alike um, than we otherwise expected. And like I said, there's a lot of variety when it comes to dragons. That's why I asked for specificity earlier. So I think this is an idea. This is basically a we're not so different, you and I scenario. So yes, they are quite intelligent, capable of speech, understand the value of treasure in the first place, not doing it because they're like crab Zane and want to do that for the shinies. I don't know. I remember there was a Zach Speaks Giant post that I saw one time where they say that where they said that like dragons have like an instinct to hoard valuable items, but they don't intrinsically know the value of something. And so if you raise a dragon yourself, then they will start to try to covet all of the items that you find precious specifically. So if your phone is missing one day, then you know where it went. That was the idea behind that post. I don't know. Not strictly relevant to this video, but just a funny thought, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, I don't know if this guy has the value of treasure given how easily he's donating it away. I don't know. That's another question as well, because I mean, if you don't understand the value of treasure, would you even call it treasure in the first place? That's another question. I don't know about that one. By the way, what is your name? Story. Wow, cool name. My name's Storm. Ah, yes, both equally uncommon names in our universe, so I guess again they're also alike. Wow, that name's even cooler. Well, sorry. Could I ask you a favor? Interesting. Guess we're about to find out what dragons do want in this world. Can you visit again? I don't have any friends. Sure, I'll be your friend. The next day. Hi, girls. You're alive? We were convinced we were never going to see you again. Dragon blushing, aren't they reptiles? That, I will say, that I will give you. That is a good point. The almost universal thing about dragons is they are all, reptiles, to my knowledge. Maybe the odd amphibian here and there, but either way, cold-blooded. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Storm, is your smile stitched? Yeah, try saying that 5 times fast. Imagine Star said he runs into one of the cave's walls and it falls over like a piece of cardboard in the cave just a front to make Storm look more intimidating. Pay no attention to the dragon behind the cardboard or in front of it or wherever I am relative to your position right now. Bye. They moved on instead of yeah, exactly. Yeah. We just had a funeral for you last night. I like to think it was just like a funeral they did like one of their houses, and all of like their toys were like the guests like all in mourning or something. And there's just like another like elaborate play session for them. I already asked about Staria's parents and how they should have been alerted to this. I don't think Starry told her parents she was going to go to the Dragon Cave because no relatively intelligent child would be like, hey, yeah, bye, mum and dad. I'm going to go to fight a dragon now. If dragons indeed exist in this world, which they do, not a good call. Did Days have anything to say when Starry did not come home with her? I mean, I don't know. It depends on how close they are as siblings. I'm not sure. She did toss over a wall last time. I'm not sure if they're particularly, attentive of each other, let's say. And yes, usually funerals are like a week. Yeah, that's why I'm saying that it's probably like an elaborate thing that they put together in like their house, not yeah. So I forgot what voice I gave this character. So you made it out alive. Give me the oh wait, no, I give him attention duelists. So you made him out alive. Give me the treasure. Or you could become my girlfriend. Not become, but become. Here. You actually did it? Attention, duelists! My family is no longer going to be evicted. Honestly, he got the better deal if that's the case. Whatever. Here's your stupid bear. Thank you, Storm. Ah, there you go. Granted, because of Gacha visuals, it does look like an explosion. Maybe this dragon actually breathes out the fire, the gas is still reacting and explodes a few inches afterwards. Maybe. In this context, not in general. Mm-hmm. You're a lie. Now I gotta return the coffin. What coffin? Just toss it out. It was fake anyways. It was fake, right? We'll stick the attack dragon on Roy and burn his hair until he goes. But well, I mean, I don't know if it's like, if he can part with the diamond and like that's all that happened, it's okay. Teddy's back. Everything's been resolved. Which yeah, now I say that everything's been resolved actually. And this video is 4 minutes long. We are 3 minutes into the video. So what's the extra minute gonna be? Just credits? Or montage? Or them falling for each other, possibly? Okay, I wonder how long they napped in the cave for, considering, again, I'm not sure if Starry's parents know she's here. There are some problems we're flagging. In this cave of dragons, do your parents know that you're out? They probably do not. Ah, okay. Now I'm starting to see a bit of conflict emerging. Unless you tripped on the way here, which is also possible. Anyway, hi, Storm. Hi, Star. Starry, are you okay? But you're covered in bruises. I tripped on my way here. Ah, exactly what I said, but I'm pretty sure she's lying, so I won't count that as oracle powers. Yeah. And, oh yeah, that is real now. Yeah, the smile is stitched. Oh, great. Oh, I see. Starry, what are you hiding from me? Storm? Oh, sorry. I'll get to the bottom of this. One thing that they don't tell you about us dragons is that we're some pretty good detectives. Give me chocolate now! Give me chocolate now! Do that voice. But darling, you've only had 3 bars this morn. No! Yes, dear. And hand me my insulin while you're at it. Have fun at school, dear. Whatever, Mom. Okay. I'm guessing this is the. Wait, hold on. Hold on a minute. I feel like we skipped a number of scenes to get to this point. So what I assume happened off screen is Storm did some detective work, potentially following Starry or interviewing like a couple of other people. I'd probably not because he would have to reveal who he is, so probably not that one. And he found out that this guy had said something about like you had some more bruises to go with the ones I gave you before, or something to that effect. I don't know. And then chose a different day, a different moment to follow him to his house. Then wait until he was going to school the next day, and he just and apprehended him here. All of that we completely missed. I don't know if that's how that's going on, but I mean that I don't know. Look at this. Yeah, the kid has nothing to do with it. Yeah, you would like as far as we're concerned, it could be that he's done is completely wrong. Is his plan just kidnap like all the students of the school into one of them confesses? What is this, the Inquisition? Like what is going on here? It's a going undercover Mond. Yeah, that's also true. I don't know if that's meant to be like he's like tied up. I have no idea, but yeah. Oh wait, it was going. Oh, I see. Okay, no, so I see what you're saying now. Okay, so he's going. So he's going undercover. So he decided to, instead of take them on high ground and like enact revenge, he's actually instead choosing to pretend to be a kid, somehow thinking that the uniform was the one part that was not working. Sure, okay, like. All right. So then what did happen, I suppose, is that he still followed him home, but just like picked him at complete random, unless he just thought like, he has my measurements. Yeah, this'll work. Is that what happened? Yeah. The driver's from the front window. I mean, you say probably. Again, we don't know because that just didn't happen. I'm not sure. Okay. Okay. So so this is how he's going to do his detective work by involving an innocent person. He kind of lost the moral high ground there, Storm. So much for dragons not, living up to their fear factor. Anyway. You better let me go right now, or I'll... So I guess he was listening to the whole chocolate incident. So he must have been watching for some time then if he knew that would pacify him, considering that was a thing that we saw inside the house and not something the Storm saw outside. Okay. This is Felix Court. Yeah, right down to Felix being the... I guess, right down to there being a an orange-haired character. But no, this time he just swapped it around, I suppose. Alright. Well, well, well! Attention, duelists! Looky what we have here! Leave us alone! Aw, is the baby going to cry? I like how he's still holding the diamond. Why has he not, like, put that down or, like, left it at home or something, or, like, or deposited it, or, like, whatever people do with a diamond like that? I have no idea. Anyways. Okay, so the uniform was literally just to get him through the door. See, that's why I look at the screen would not have helped me here, because the plan was too stupid for me to process. So his plan essentially, okay. I mean, I can understand like thinking like, oh yes, you have to wear the uniform to get inside the school grounds. Sure, fair enough. Depending on the school, they'll have security systems in place for obvious reasons. One security system they do not have in place, it seems, is an anti-aerial version that will stop a person with wings from flying inside. That's how I imagine he probably like, stalked them to begin with or something. I guess he just like went outside and followed one of the kids when it was like emerging and happened to know they like chocolate. I don't know. Again, he could just float in the whole time. instead of like I guess like poking holes in the kid's uniform to account for his wings and tail. Hey, bowl boy. Huh? Yoink. I need to borrow this. I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. You don't have any of those? Okay, just your clothes then. Why do it like a dragon, freak? You're so close to saying freak show. So close. Stop! Or what? You'll use fire breath on me? Nah, the radius is too big. I'd have too much collateral damage. I mean, yes. Yes, I will. That just does it. Okay, forget the radius then. I'll just fire a Kamehameha from my mouth. Alright then. So what were you saying before about like being bald, Bon? Actually, I think this is your oracle moment. Where was that? It was like way up here. Ah, there it is. From 9 minutes ago. There you are. Well, that's that seals it. I guess that was not a fire attack, that was a bald beam, because he's not singed in the slightest. Attention, duelists! My hair has passed. I'm gonna say freak show, because I do like Nelly the raccoon. I guess I was thinking more to like Pops and that to Morwenna, because again, dragon, but yeah, still that works. How are his eyebrows alive? Good question. No, but I'll ask that question with another question. Could you remove the eyebrows in Gacha Life? Maybe. I actually don't remember if you can. Yeah, he's not worthy of the treasure. I mean, ultimately, I guess like Starry got the treasure, so she fulfilled her end of the deal anyway. So I guess he can just take it back because for some reason he thought, hey, let's bring a priceless diamond back to school for no reason. Of course. That's how that would happen. What just happened? Well. Behold, the greatest hair in the universe. Wait. No! My hair. Where is my hair? It seems, in my anger, I killed it. No! Anyway. Just that you can remove eyebrows in Gacha. Okay, so yes, in that case, his eyebrows should have disappeared for sure. The whole burn marks thing, I mean, we saw like the fire explosion in the montage earlier, so I'm going to call that just bald beam, you know. Very... very impressive visually, but doesn't actually do that much damage. How's he going to explain this to his parents? I mean, are parents even like remotely involved in the story at this point? I don't know. Starry's parents seem to not be of this. This is kind of like the parents in It. They're just kind of there, to be honest. Anyway, thank you so much for this, Storm. It's nothing. When do you join the school, Storm? Yeah, probably not. On account of if I join, I'd be immediately suspended and or expelled. So, yeah, I don't think this is gonna. I don't think I'm gonna be able to. Please. Also, wait, they know his name is Storm? Maybe Star's told them about him. Maybe she has been honest but with people, I suppose. Yeah, I guess that would be why they wouldn't be quaking if Starry's actually, let them know what happened in the Dragon Cave. They knew she was, they alone knew she was going there, so I guess possibly, Okay, well, there you go. If you want me to, then yes. The end. There you go. So I guess they've got a dragon in the cast now, maybe. Hopefully I'll return to Miss Fanasia Gacha a bit sooner because I'm curious now the pilot is going to emerge if Storm is going to be like a part of that, or if this is going to, kind of not really not really go anywhere. Definitely not Monty's spirit. Monty would have ripped that kid's entire weave off. Yeah, yeah, I know. He does tend to lose his head sometimes when it comes to battles. Uh, First impression is aggression. I don't know if I keep my yeah, that is the literal hothead. That's also very true. Especially if considering what they've like learned about dragons, maybe because like they were defending their friend's honor and standing up to the person that was antagonizing them, and all they did was really like just have like the bald beam thing. Maybe that's probably would have been fine for them because he's like actively like fighting for them rather than against them. I guess I don't know. Maybe. Uh, no, I think the school's harps are gonna take my presents so easily. Yeah. Also, do I have parents? They weren't relevant at all, so maybe it's my treasure, so possibly not. I don't know. That random that got kidnapped. I guess he just stayed there because I don't know because if Storm's joining the school, I guess he wouldn't give his uniform back. I don't know. Hey, you could put about my bat quote from my bat joke in the was it the baseball? It was a baseball joke. Yeah, whatever it would have been. Gotta have the dark humor somewhere from Secrets of the Plex. Anyway, yeah, I guess he just stayed there and ate the last of his chocolates, and I don't know, kind of just sat there. I guess he didn't really time there. I guess, but I will say this: there was no like rope in Gacha Life or Gacha Club. I know that because that was something I actively looked for in both of those apps, trying to do like the actual Felix scene, and I had to use Free Pick as a result. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. No, so I said that if it wasn't a thing, is what I meant to say. So I guess maybe like we were supposed to just imply that he was tied up somehow. Maybe. There's one like section of limited poses in Gacha Life that was really hard to work around. It was the sitting ones. Honestly, up until Gacha Life 2, that would still be a thing. Yeah, because Small Nab missed everything. Yeah, pretty much. All right, time for intimidating critical feedback. Pros: music was fitting, ground was good, save B come, and you got an audible snort of him when Starry was thrown over the fence. Yeah, that is true. This is the kind of humor that you don't see a lot in Gutch anymore. Until like the random humor itself. Again, it used to be like very common from like early videos, and to some extent, the cartoon physics work in certain instances where they're not contradicted. You know, Usually the biggest issues with like Gacha from back in the day was obviously the themes it tried to address and failed to do so in any sort of like this sort of way. As much as I've said, these things don't make sense, like the cartoon physics stuff. I mean, that is ultimately what it boils down to. So I kind of get it, especially like in this universe where dragons are a thing, and they just like, and Miss Morrible is also just a featured character. People accept that entirely, and possibly Mike can begin superheroes next time. I'm not sure. This kind of feels like a mismatch of a bunch of different things that people treat as perfectly normal. That just seems to be like the general magic, I suppose, of how it comes together. So yeah. Also, I thought the uniforms were too flashy and the story was definitely too simple. Let me explain. While you explain, I'll just piggyback off the whole uniforms thing. So as far as the uniforms go, yeah, like the one that the sister wore seemed to be what is the one we've seen up until this point. And I'm guessing that maybe the reason that there's different is because they were like two different schools, like they went to two different they're two separate like like grades. Like one of them is possibly in like elementary, I suppose, and others like in middle school maybe, or I don't know, whatever equivalency that would be. I'm thinking they're probably elementary just on like how much like child logic was required for the characters to do their actions. So they most likely are. So maybe that's why the uniform was a different color to like the other ones we've seen in other Miss Fantasia videos. Which now that I'm saying that makes me wonder because the main cast of Miss Fantasia are the ones that wear the purple uniforms. So I guess maybe we're not going to see Storm after all that much. All these other characters, if I'm correct, and then they just happen to be in like the other grade. So I don't know. That's kind of a shame, honestly, because there's a very solid setup here, I suppose. Or then again, I guess there is no what else would you do at this point after you've resolved the issues with the dragons? You could do a whole long thing about like him, integrating into society and the different stereotypes around like dragons and humans and such. And there is like something to do with that, but I'm not sure given like how this feels like a very like hillside high thing for those who saw yesterday's review where different things actually happen. Um and it is sort of like anthology set applying to different characters, which unlike Hillside High, they pull it off a little better in my opinion because they just have more time to do things and they also give themselves just enough to have a beginning, middle, and end in the episode itself, which I know I said was something I was thinking like, would it be better like Hillside High did do that or didn't do that? I don't know, depends. If Hillside High, I think to think of what I was saying last time, with Hillside High, the lack of beginning, middle, and end in their videos, and the like, there's worse with is disadvantage because they're not following a continuous thing. We're not following a story that has a beginning, middle, and end in itself in a serialized form. So we still have like that sense of like the 3-act structure. So instead, when in episodic shows, you get that in the form of some sort of journey in the episode itself, and that's why a lot of them return to status quo immediately afterwards. So yeah, and that's what you have with these ones here. So yeah, I think that's probably just a case of Hillside High probably didn't execute itself as well as something like this. So yeah. Okay. So I think that's enough time that I've given to for Bond to explain. So like I got here too late, I got late yet. So that's that. There's that. This is escalate to the mythical world. Yes, that's what I was saying before. So yeah, we've covered that. Okay, so Bond's explanations here. So I don't hate simple stories as long as they deliver on the moral. I feel like there was so much room for a moral here, but it fell flat with the second half with Storm's revenge. That is true. He did kind of like disprove the point about like people fearing dragons by executing a plan that would make them fear dragons. Yeah, so he didn't think that one through, I don't think. I guess it kind of like it feels like an X-Men plot, honestly, where it comes down to like mutants doing the things that they do. Some of them do out of desperation. Others obviously are trying to incite the hatred in the first place. But the ones who are trying to work towards peace have to take violent actions to get said peace. Depending on like which versions you go with, because obviously superheroes. So yeah. Okay, to continue. I was enjoying it up until the kidnapping and ending, but I did like Roy's hair being singed. That was funny. Just could have executed better. Yeah, probably would have done that in a way that people weren't within like the perceived blast radius personally. But yes, I get that too. That's one thing that a lot of gachas end up running into. Remember how I said that at the 3-minute mark of this video that everything was resolved? The whole the whole last bit with Starry coming in with scars and such, it felt like that was like a whole other thing. That could have like either like a separate like episode, separate like plan. It could be like a part 2 to this where they started at that point and then they had like the whole thing of him like going undercover somehow disguising the fact that he is a dragon and figuring out who actually attacked Starry, or if you want to go to the moral one, figuring out that he shouldn't have actually pushed for the information if Starry was not ready to tell him about that in the first place. Where do you stand on that kind of thing? How far does one go pushing their own ethics to or pushing their own perceived ethics in order to like help a friend? That's there were some interesting angles that could have been done with that. Not to mention also the difference between dragon ethics and human ethics. Are they even the same in the first place? Is this a kind of normal thing in dragon culture? So yeah, again, that could have been expanded upon and could have been executed a different way. But I think it comes down to a lot of gachas, depending on like, regardless of like their length, actually, a lot of gachas will get to a certain point in the in an episode, wrap up what they've done, and then the second half of it, or I guess the fourth quarter of this one, really, end up just kind of derailing the whole thing in the first place because they decide to go in a completely different angle. I go back to Beauty is Pain a lot as like my go-to example of a story that was all about like the model industry and somebody who had been like in there for like ever since they were 5 years old and knew nothing else different and had so much pressure on them. And the second they're allowed to like go to school, it becomes just a glorified love story. In fact, a love triangle, and that's it. And then the model stuff comes back like very quickly right at the end. There's almost nothing to do with the rest of it. And yeah. Obviously, other examples like when Winter Strike we've covered more recently, and people remember those a lot more, but that's the one I keep thinking back to from the very early days of Gacha Review. So, probably about when this video was made. Let's see. Also, where are the parents at? That's true for, honestly, like any part of this. Those friends in the future seems to be a purple dragon inspired hero. Maybe dragons are canon to Miss Fantasia's story. Yeah, no, I'm not saying they're not canon. This episode definitely feels like it is canon. I'm just thinking that we won't see Storm as much if my suspicion of him being in a different grade, and that explains the reason for the uniform change, is correct. So he'll be used sparingly, but we're not going to undo what has been done here. I don't think Miss Fantasia's retconned anything in the universe, but I guess we'll find out as we continue. Okay, back to the rest of Bond's bit. I'm partly stalling to give time to write, but yeah. I did see the beginning of a don't judge a book by its cover moral, but again, fell flat with the dangerous dragon was dangerous. Yep. Even if it was against the boy, that still makes Storm dangerous. Yeah. That's not mitigated by the fact that it was a bald beam and that was it. But in order to like administer the ball beam in the first place, a kidnapping of an innocent person took place, which never got resolved on screen. Again, we that's one thing about this video that I don't like. We assume a lot of stuff happened off screen more than the average. You know, I mean, there is like some element of that where it's just a case of, oh yes, this character's now in a different location to where they were in the previous scene. How'd they get there? I don't know. They probably drove, took a bus, or walked. Most likely one of those. You know, that stuff is generally understood. But when like big changes happen to the story, that's when I usually think that we should probably see how some of those things actually went down. And the avoiding of movement that this video does on a lot of occasions works to its disadvantage. I'm trying to see her when Jane stands up for herself and attacks her bully and gives her a concussion. I guess she's still up for the bully, but concussion is a concussion. Yeah. Exactly. So, I think that's why there was only a ball beam. But again, the kidnapping negates that whole thing because the fact that he took the way to get there. Again, he could have just flown because he has wings. But anyway. Yep. So that is all. Ooh, how intimidating. Welcome to my world. Well, you've been in my world for a long time. Anyway, legends say the kid was never seen from again. He remained tied up in that cave forever. Yeah, I guess Storm would have had to have gone back and realize he was there. Yeah, he probably ran out of chocolates. That's most likely what happened. Yeah. They do say two wrongs don't make a right. Yeah. And of course, I mean, the cycle of revenge is also like a big thing that comes down to it, you know, like, you know, what do you assess like the damage that someone's done, or do you justify doing more damage to them, even if it's accidental because of what they've done to you? That, you know, that's a whole issue there. And again, you could make a contrast between human ethics and dragon ethics if they are indeed two like very separate species coexisting. They probably have, you know, different values. As much as I say they live in the same society, they themselves form two different societies that would not have applied. So yeah, this story has the potential to like do much more with what it establishes in itself. And that's I guess that's the biggest thing I would say. You know, I would say Ghost Kitty probably, you know, write this one down. This might be a good one to explore in the future. It was like a concept of, you know, humans and dragons together. I mean, there's a show that not many people know about called Mixmaster that was based, I believe, on an MMORPG from 2003 or something like that. Maybe even earlier. I think the anime was 2003. I'm not sure. But either way, I watched it before I watched Pokemon, but it's another version of something where, you know, like, you know, people use a version of monsters to do combat. The twist there is that it was, first of all, it was card based, and secondly, you know, a lot of the monsters, like, or hench as they were called, could, you know, I say combine, but actually the actual series says mix because I watched it in Spanish, so you know, yeah. So and the hench themselves, they hail from a will perceive to be a video game called Atreya. And at one point, the inventor of the game is trying to bring a creature from Atreya to the real world. The real world. Again, the show is kind of loose with this. And the machine goes wrong and accidentally mixes the two worlds together. So they have to learn to coexist. There's a big theme in the series, or at least like the first half of the series, um, about humans and hench learn to get along because they've had to because they they hail from different places and now they have to share a space because that's just how it works. And yeah, you could do the same thing with a society like this. Absolutely, by all means, go for it. Uh, yeah. No DSP isn't respected much by me anymore, but it's a good piece of dialogue. Once people start, they're going to start taking that revenge. Is it ever worth it? No, it's not. Yeah, yeah. So back to the cycle of revenge idea. It takes a very strong person to break that. Absolutely. Yeah. And that will always be a very time honored thing in the first place, whether it's on a personal level or on a global scale. That sometimes does happen. But yeah, something you try to live by. Definitely, definitely. Alrighty. Oh wow, I didn't know if the video was going to get to an hour or not. I was kind of skeptical actually because I thought to myself, oh well, we haven't this video, the other videos I've done Miss Fantasia are usually like around this time length, but also they're like relatively short. They're with Hillside High, I had to compensate for like 5 episodes last time. But hey, there was more to say. There's more to talk about it. So yeah, there we go. All right, well, leave us on the last few quotes here. Noted. Very happy. Yep. That's a powerful send off indeed. So, yes, we'll send you off on that one. And I'll say the final words here, which are please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. And subscribe to us already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.